I've got a good mantra for you today to live by. I respect myself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves me. Write that down, highlight it, put it as a screensaver, record it in your own voice on a voice note, and listen to it over and over again. I respect myself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves me. Let's unpack this together today. Hey, it's Star Monroe from the Star Monroe Show. All things main character energy, so you can walk through life unapologetically confident, unbothered, and wildly exclusive. So I've got a question. Are you constantly finding yourself on the clearance rack despite knowing in your bones, you do know your bones are a wisdom center, don't you, of your body? Despite knowing in your bones you're destined to be a high value woman. I've always known I'm destined to be a high value woman. I wrote about it when I was at school. I dreamt of wealth and luxury. I mean, I'm a Taurian. It's my birthright. So I've always known that I'm here to be a high value woman. And yet there's no shade in anything I'm saying today because I've been through the fire to get to where I am today. And I'm committed and disciplined to maintaining high standards for myself. You see, the let me go off a track first of all. Life is presenting lessons to you and I at every single moment of every single day. And if you or I are constantly blaming, moaning, groaning about external circumstances, then we give away our power and we don't do anything about it. I'm not here for living my life like that. And I know that you're not too. There's a great book that I read in the mornings. It's by Neville, Neville. It's called The Power of Awareness. And he says, the world is our mirror. Everything outside us is made up by us. So what we see, we can change if we don't like it. And it all starts and ends from your inner world. And if I circle back to the topic at hand today, it's all about you learning and cultivating the skills to respect your time, your energy, and your emotional landscape. Because these are non-negotiable skills. These are skills that you must learn if you want to attract a better life, more money, better relationships. You want to be respected by others. First and foremostly, you have to respect yourself because is the kicker with this one, wanting respect from external sources. People can give it to you, but they also can take it away. So it all has to come from you. But as you learn how, and this is, can you hear my words? Learn how, cultivate how. As you cultivate the skills to respect your time, energy, and emotional landscape, you safeguard yourself. And as you safeguard yourself, you start to shift who you are from the inside out, and then you shift your frequency, your energy, and you repel toxic influences without having to lift a finger. You see, we're all energy. You want to move through life differently, then you've got to go inwards. Stop looking outwards. It's an inside job. So let's unpack this. If you grew up in an environment where your experiences were dismissed, like those endless, stop crying, there's nothing to cry about, or just get over it when you fell over, or oh my God, you've hurt your finger. Stop moaning. You've got 9 other fingers. this is literally coming from my childhood book of experiences, then if you grew up in an environment like that, you've most likely learned to ignore your needs. And when we are taught very early on, from 0 to 7 and 7 to 14, 14 to 21, these 3 sets of 7 years, very formative. They literally imprint into us who we are, and then we take it into adulthood. The good thing is that as you're an adult, you can go back in and change all the imprinting. So if you learnt how to dismiss your needs, because at the very heart of it, children want to feel loved. So if they learn from mummy and daddy that they can't express how they feel, then they will stop expressing their needs so they can feel loved. And also, it's a human biological need to feel like we belong to a tribe. So if mummy, daddy, caregivers are telling you that you cannot express any emotion, you cannot be angry, you cannot be sad, you cannot cry, you've got to stop moping and groping and whatever. Groping probably wasn't the right word, but we'll go with it. Then you will learn very fucking quickly to bottle all of that up and create a mask so you can fit in. These masks end up slipping because, as I will go on, you will bring it into adulthood. So for me, I dragged all that toxic baggage into adulthood, and what it meant, because I didn't listen to myself, I dismissed my needs, I carried on. Does that resonate with anyone? I carried on, I pushed through, I kept going. Well, it led me to codependency, wildly poor financial choices, addictions, alcoholism, really awful relationships, and not one but 3 mental breakdowns because I kept pushing through. It took me far too long to wake up to the reality that these patterns, because that's what they are, these patterns were not my identity. So you might have certain patterns. The secret key that you're looking for is that you need to become aware of what you're doing. You cannot change anything until you bring the unseen to the scene. That's why it's always good to work with someone when you start to realize, oh, what got me here will not get me there. It's a big wake up call. So it took me far too long to wake up to the reality that these patterns were not my identity. They were my conditioning. And here we go again. I will keep saying this over and over again. Inside your DNA, you have your genius, your higher self. You are God incarnate. You are a goddess incarnate. Your job is to clear out the conditioning from your upbringing, your peers, school, work, relationships. Your job is to clear out, question, shatter that conditioning so you can live aligned with your genius, your higher self. That's what it means to be an authentic version of you. You will get glimmers of this. You will be getting glimmers of this. You will be listening to people like me that waking you up, that are leading you, opening up doors. Your job is to follow those glimmers. What Rumi says, follow what lights you up. It will not lead you astray. And yet, if you're still on this mindset where, oh, if I just get that, if I just lose 20 pounds, just get the partner, just get the money, just move abroad, everything's going to be hunky-dory. I'm sorry to rip the rug from underneath your feet, but it won't be that, because there will always be more. Your job as a human being is eternal expansion and evolution. And as you open one door and learn how to face your fears and grow and expand, you will reach a plateau, and then there'll be something inside you that calls you to do more. So it's this forever journey of your expansion and growth, ebbs, flows, plateaus. So, coming back to the story, it took me far too long to wake up to the reality that these patterns were not my identity, they were my conditioning. And if you are waking up, if you're becoming more awake to yourself, aware to yourself, you, and I did allude to it a minute ago, you do need support. You need therapy to help yourself unravel it, because otherwise you will continue to think that you are these patterns. If you are a woman who wants to become a high value woman, the main character of her life, if you want to safeguard your time, energy, emotions, then you must start to make yourself a priority. In fact, I was working with a couple of clients yesterday and I said to them, you are the priority. You've got to know where you're going in life. Otherwise, you're going to stumble and fall and bumble and let everybody else take you their way in life. So you've got to know where you're going. And I was saying to my two private clients, you're the priority. So even roll that around, giving you another mantra to roll around. And as you become a priority, you have to start to demand more from yourself. You have to pay attention to your emotional needs. And here's the kicker, you have to learn how to fulfill them yourself. You're the only one who gets to dictate your life's quality, no one else. And yet a lot of women have learned to go with the flow, be a good girl, people pleaser. Again, these are your masks. These are your pseudo identities that you learn to get your love and sense of belonging. And your job is to release yourself from them, especially, and I know because you're listening to me, especially if you're a woman who wants more, who does not want to settle. I am definitely a woman who is not here to settle. Every time I try to settle, it gets very uncomfortable. And so I always know I'm here for more. So I've kind of thrown myself into the fire, so to speak. And I'm like, I'm here for constant growth, constant evolution. Give it to me, forge me. Because as we step into our growth and evolution, we do become forged. We learn more about ourselves. And this is especially pertinent at midlife, if you're like me, walking, strutting through your 50s. This time of our lives presents a pivotal moment to do this crucial work. It's a time for you to reassess what you want from these next chapters of your life, the last half of your life. Doing this work now is essential to shed past limitations and attract more of what you truly desire. Do not come at me and say you do not know what you want. Do the work. Get curious. Find out what lights you up. Find out what you're fucking moaning about all the time. And then reverse it. It's your job to do this work on yourself. No one is going to come along and save you, rescue you, fix you. You're not broken anyway, so there's nothing to fix. Yet you have to do the job of clearing out the debris so you can live aligned with your genius. As older iconic women, it's not a time to look back. Well, we can look back and learn, not to look back and weep. Look back and learn from what we've done. It's a really powerful opportunity for us right now to design the future we want with intention and clarity. You've got to know where you are going. Shall I say that louder for the people at the back? You've got to know where you're going. You've got to have a North Star. So how do you, let's give you some kind of inroads into shifting and changing. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a story as well about me and my emotions. How do you start changing this? Well, you have to acknowledge that you carry conditioning with you and understand that it will leak and seep out into your world. How will you know this is happening? Well, you will think your body is a problem. Your body's not the problem, it's a solution. You will think putting on weight or the way that you eat or drink is a problem. It's not, it's a symptom of something deeper, and that deeper something is probably that you need to learn how to have a deeper, more comforting stable, safe relationship with yourself. It could come out that you're seeking external validation from everyone. Well, it's no one else's job to validate you. That's your job. That's why I love working with older women. As women are younger, teens, 20s, early 30s at a push, it's essential nourishment for women to seek out this external validation. We are queens in my world. I call them, we are empresses. No, you have to learn how to validate yourself, celebrate yourself, hear yourself, accept yourself. You must know by now you're not going to get another body. You're not going to get you, there are certain things that you can't change, so you have to kind of just make do and do the best you can with it. And it is all an inside job. It's how you change, how you look at yourself through your perception. Your job, your quest as you strut into this journey of awakening, of you living aligned with your higher self, your genius, is to turn inwards, to tune out the outside noise, to listen to your body, to your intuition, to your emotions. I get it. It's challenging. And yet settling when you know that you're here for more, that is horrible. So you need to choose your hard. So circling back to emotions, learning how to respect our emotional landscape, especially if you were taught in your formative years to ignore your emotions. I'll tell you a story. So my mother and I were having a conversation, and I did something and set it in motion, and then my mother came along and kind of ignored everything that I did and took charge and changed it. You don't need to know the details. Details are not important. So when I was telling my mum about this, I was like, actually, this doesn't work for me. And this is the conversation. I remember it vividly. My mum said, well, if I've upset you, I didn't mean to. And the way I replied, I said, I am upset. So I owned and took responsibility for feeling upset. So I didn't blame her. I didn't say, no, you've upset me. I said, I am upset. My mum doesn't hear that because people will only hear to the level that they are able to hear. And what my mum came back to me, she said, well, I don't know what you're upset about. And at that point, I knew I had to exit the conversation because it wasn't going anywhere, because I expressed how I felt and it wasn't received. This is why I say to you, you have to learn how to self-soothe. You have to learn how to see yourself. So I ended the call, came back into my world, and instead of spiraling into self-doubt, I stepped back to recalibrate. I recognized that I was upset and served my own needs, tended to my raw, vulnerable self. And what did that look like? Well, I just listened to myself. I just slowed down, did probably ate something nice. I'm trying to think what I did. And wrote and genuinely watched my mind, because the next day something happened. And as I was relaying the conversation in my head, I was like, actually, am I making a big deal about this? Am I am I being the drama queen? And then it was at that point I said, no, you're not. You were physically upset. And so I took myself back to the moment when I was having a conversation with my mum, and my body had this response. It was shaking. I had a flush running through my body. And so it's my job to honor that, because my mind will try and rationale and logic its way out of it. Also, this is my mother, and my mother taught me to dismiss my feelings when she was young, when I was younger. So no, it's my job now as an adult version of me, the mature version of me, to really honor that. And I'm not here to seek out revenge on my mother or, to avenge myself. My job is to self-soothe and bring myself back down to a grounded, calm state. I call it my base state. So in all of this, I recognize this old pattern of me dismissing my own feelings. And the thing is, when you dismiss your own feelings and you don't do anything about it, I've already told you what happens. But if you have this information and you carry on doing it, then people will walk all over you. You will walk all over you. There's a complete lack of respect for yourself. And if you want more respect out in the world, then you have to start respecting yourself. And again, not going to lie, it takes work. And I know where I would rather be. I'd rather be on this journey, which I've chosen to be, than sitting on the sofa feeling sorry for myself and amplifying my victim frequency. So by acknowledging and respecting my own boundaries, what I do is I strengthen my relationship with myself. It's important to note this is not a one-time fix. It's a continuous practice of honoring yourself and refusing to numb or deny your reality. To attract respect, it's worth repeating this again. To attract respect, because whatever you want, you need to become an energetic match. You've got to make what you want you. To attract respect, opportunity, and genuine connections, it starts with respecting yourself and viewing your life through the lens of a woman of high worth, high value. Every day you wake up with yourself, every night you go to bed with yourself, make sure it's someone worth waking up and going to bed with. Your job here on this planet is to be unapologetically you. To do that, you've got to honor your emotions. Because when you do, your inner world will shift. Your outer world has no choice but to match it. You have, in every single moment, nothing is inconsequential. You must know that. Nothing is inconsequential. In every single moment of every single day, you have a chance to reset, recalibrate, and be the woman you want to be. If you are an ambitious, successful woman over 50 and you're ready to raise the roof on your standards and your self-worth, because again, it's another mantra I say over and over again, when you know how valuable you are, you will always, and I mean always, get what you want. Then there's an invitation from me to you. Hire me as your private coach and therapist. Right now, you can book a 1-hour consultancy session. It's called your Instant Confidence Boost. Or indeed, if you're looking for deeper support, deeper guidance, you want to strut with me for 3 or more months, then apply to work with me via my rebirth package. All the details are in the show notes. And until next time, stay absolutely fucking fabulous.